This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, beginning at verse 1, and it reads, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Verse 2, and the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Verse 3, for the vision or the prophecy is yet for appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by their faith. And whose soul is not upright is this red Hebrew Edomite, who you ignorantly call the so-called white man, Esau Edom. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine, meaning his philosophies, he is a proud man. He's so proud. You had that guy, Noah Harari, the understudy of Klaus Schwab, basically saying that, this red Hebrew Edomite could do more than the Most High, So, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. He's always in another nation's affairs, because he really thinks he's omnipotent or omnipotent, depending on how, different brothers say it different ways, but basically all knowing, all powerful. But the true all knowing, all power is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Scriptures talk about how the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom. It talks about the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than, I think, the sun, roughly paraphrase. I might have butchered that, Salakia. It's in the Apocrypha. When largest his desire is hell, because he's a carnal man, so he can't be sated by no matter what he has. He has all the riches, he has all the land, and he still wants more. Makes me think about Alexander the Greek, or Alexander the Macedonian, when he had conquered all that land. He wept because he couldn't conquer. His soldiers basically wanted to, stop war, because they had, basically captured all that land, conquered all that land, because at that time he had conquered more land than anybody prior or previous to that. And they say that he wept, and I can believe that the scripture lines up with the spirit of this scripture lines up with the spirit of the Edomite. And cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, heapeth unto him all people. Antiochus Epiphanes wanted, when you read the book of Maccabees, wanted all nations to basically, worship, and, put away their gods and worship, to be joined onto one another. And you have this happening right now. This is nothing new. Scriptures tell you in the book of Ecclesiastes, there's no new thing under the sun. I mean, actually, this is the dumbest plan ever, because you got to take the time to think about it. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, although he's utilizing and using the so-called white man to do this, it's a retribution and a punishment for even doing this. That's the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. He's going to have you do something to punish you for it regardless. Verse 6, and this is the point. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to called Loyam La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Racha, Kodash Barakatham. Double honors to my apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, who teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad and the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, with whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. So this is the brother Yahweh Sap out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, who is coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai. So I saw this article, and it's going into basically, this is going to affect everybody, especially, it's affecting people in other nations, but it's going to affect the people in Babylon the Great, aka America. Heating and electric bills set to surge this winter. There's a lot of pain, because it means this is about to hurt people's pockets. Things are already hurting people's pockets, but now it's really gonna hurt their pockets. I want to go into this word, thick clay. So when you get the word thick clay, right this is crazy. I don't know what's going on with this. Blue letter been going off lately, huh? I forgot the word too. That's my fault. But it basically goes into debt. You know, it's funny because my Google wasn't working correctly. You know, and now this is acting up. So I don't know if it's something with the service or the weather or what. Nah, it ain't even popping up. But when you go into that word, I, I I would probably have to look at another Bible app, but basically boils down to debt. And when you go into the monetary system, this Federal Reserve note is not real money. You know, it's a debt note. You know, so and these people have laden themselves onto it. You know, that's why when this crash comes, it's going to affect so many people so heavily, and that's why a lot of people are going to opt into the system that they're creating. You know, Esau Edom thinks they know what they're doing, but the Most High definitely knows what He's doing. You know, so I'm gonna bring out a little bit of this article, and basically try and make it as quick as possible. So this reads: Americans are in store for an expensive winter when it comes to paying their heating and electric bills. The average household will pay about 17% more this winter to heat their property, reaching a 10-year high of about $1,200 per home, according to a forecast from the nonprofit National Energy Assistance Director Association. Electric bills are also set to rise, with the U.S. residential price of electricity expected to jump about 7.5% from 2021, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Says, like that song. Says those forecasts follow a year of already elevated costs for homeowners. You know, not just homeowners, for everybody in Babylon, because everything is inflated. Everything costs more. I know somebody that basically smokes cigarettes. So you know, you can't stop them either. You know what I mean? I've attempted to stop them, explain it through the scriptures, all that. You know, so you know, I just noticed that they went in the store and they literally seen that the cigarettes jumped that quick. You know, and I was making them know, like, or letting them know, like, well, shit, by the end of the year, you might be paying, because I think they said they went up like $1. So by the end of the year, and that ain't just her brand or whatever. So by the end of the year, they might have go up $2 or $3. You know, this is like the cheapest cigarette on the market from what she's telling me. So as far as menthols, you know, so yeah, I mean, inflation is impacting everybody's wallet. You know what I mean? So definitely it's going to impact them homeowners. You know, because again, they own the home, but then, like I said, you know, if you paid off your mortgage, that's one. Like some people, like I said, actually are going to be able to, you know, like some people that's basically on Section 8 or government assistance. But then you got to understand, you're in a trick bag, because the Lord, you know, that they are already set up in the system. So what are you going to do to try to hold on to what you have? Because right now, if you're not on some kind of government program, Lord so cold, I was trying to get on like some kind of you know, reduced program that help pay for you know, like PIP or something. And I thought I was going to, you know, and the Lord, you know, like, no. So I'm about to be affected by this too. Not just me, but brothers is affected. Call lawyer because when we see these things taking place, we know we're that much closer. You know, like Habakkuk said, you know, for the vision is yet for a appointed time, but we starting to see the Lord speak. It says, those forecasts follow a year of already elevated costs for homeowners and are likely hit low and middle income consumers the hardest. Mark, right, so the low income and middle income, which it ain't really no middle class no more. Mark Wolf, Executive Director of National Energy Assistance Directors Association, because you got to understand the wealthy ain't not going to be affected by this. You know what I mean? The wealthy, you know what I mean? They're wealthy. They don't give a fuck. You know, just like while you got these CEOs, and CFOs of these major corporations that's basically going to be cutting jobs, but they're not going to be affected by that. They was talking about how inflation basically supposed to made the companies, but you had companies that literally talking about they making record profits this year. Assistant Director Association told CBS News, rising energy costs are linked to Russia's war in Ukraine. I'm so tired of hearing that shit. Which have disrupted natural gas flows to Europe, and a hotter than normal summer in the U.S. that caused electric companies to draw down their supplies of natural gas. There's a lot of pain. This is the second year of high home heating prices. Yeah, because I saw last year, and like I said, I think I still got a bill from last year. Families are suffering. Oil is still more expensive than last year. Even though the price of oil has dropped since hovering in the triple digits in June, the commodity remains more expensive than it was a year ago. For instance, motorists have welcomed 3 months of declining prices at the pump, but they're still paying 15% more than a year earlier, according to AAA data. And basically, the Lord gonna do it where I guarantee you the cost of this gas, not natural gas to heat your home, but gasoline, petroleum is going to rise as well. What we are seeing is an increasing rate of home energy prices on top of high gasoline prices, and that's causing more low and middle income families to make choices in how they pay their expenses. And you heard about in the UK, you had people that basically called themselves refusing to pay. So what do you think? Refusing to pay the gas bills, and it's supposed to be like a stand down or whatever, but you think the gas company is not going to just cut off your gas? They're not going to, you know what I mean? Because the thing is this, people, feeling some kind of way, but when you seeing reality, it's like, for instance, if you on drugs, or if, a person that's been homeless will try everything in their power not to be homeless again. You know what I mean? Once you experience, like a person that's been incarcerated for a while, you got some people that's institutionalized, but for the most part, when a person experiences something that they don't like, they try to avoid it. So yeah, they might shut the power off, and a person might be so headstrong that they shut the power off. But then once they family suffer and they suffer, I've had to deal with winters in in the elements. You know what I mean? That shit ain't fun. You know what I mean? And that wasn't through my power at all. I know that was through the grace and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So like I said, I can say with wholehearted sincerity that once you've been homeless, you're not trying to go back to being homeless. So you'll figure out a way to come up with the money. If you have to do like the elder brother Atazamwam went into that movie Fun with Dick and Jane, and how literally that guy went from having basically a high top paying job to robbing banks. So, these people is about to really do a lot of things out of desperation. You know what I mean? I've been reading a lot of articles how these spirits been jumping on people, and guy killed his grandmother because he said over something simple, you know what I mean? Because, people are stressed out. So, with that all being said, I read Habakkuk, and all this is based on because the money felleth. In ancient Egypt, the money failed, and in this modern day Egypt, the money is going to fail. This is the book of Genesis chapter 47, verse 15. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, "Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth." And Joseph said, "Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if money fail." And they brought that cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses. And he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. When that year was ended, they came unto him the second year, said unto him, "We will not hide it from my Lord how that our money is spent. My Lord hath our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my Lord, but our bodies and our land. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land not be desolate." That the land be not desolate. Verse 20, and Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them, so the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he removed them to the cities from one end of the borders of Egypt, even to the other end thereof. only the land of the priest brought he not. So the point is, well, I'm gonna keep on reading. Only the land of the priest brought he not, for the priest had a portion assigned them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them, wherefore they sold not their lands. Verse 23, then Joseph said unto the people, behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. So basically, it's boiled down to, the people were in such a desperate state, they literally sold everything they possessed, and then basically sold themselves. So, you got to remember, Esau Edom does understand the Bible. He may blasphemy. He may what's the word? He may go off by breaking down it and misinterpretations. But then, like the elder has been in the truth so long, he said how he knows some Edomites know the Bible. You gotta the best way to lie about something is you got to know the truth. To cover something up, you got to know the truth about it. So, at the end of the day, this devil is going to utilize something in the scriptures, because, people, like that Snickers commercial, people are, you're not yourself when you're hungry. People, out of, fear of starvation will pretty much do anything. You know what I mean? Same thing with, I used to watch certain people in jail do certain stuff. Either try to take your shit or do some degrading shit. You know what I mean? Like real talk. So, that all being said, the Lord is going to put this spirit on this devil, because who's the modern day Pharaoh? This is a real Hebrew Edomite, Esau Edom. And because they're orchestrating a famine, not just because of the fact that the lack of food, but because of the inflation, the heavy debt basically is going to affect the money. So even if you got money, you might not be able to afford any food because of the astronomical prices. What's this? So the scriptures read about never trust thine enemy. And cursed be the man that trusteth in man. So if you believe in this devil who's actually orchestrating this, is literally orchestrating to benefit you, you are sadly mistaken. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 5. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land, and not inhabit it. Verse 7, the point. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, and whose hope the Lord is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. Scriptures talk about my servant shall eat, but thou shall be hungry. You know what I mean? If you trusting in the Lord, the Lord is gonna basically take care of us. I believe that's Isaiah chapter 65, somewhere around there. Salakia. I got one final scripture. This is the book of Psalms chapter 9. And the point is verse, I'm going to start at verse 7. Psalms 9 verse 7. But the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment. And the Lord is judging right now. That's another sign of the times. It's heavy judgment. Talks about in the book of Matthew chapter 24 about because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So you got all kind of violence increasing on the earth, and exponentially and daily. And that's a prophecy and a sign of the times. Verse 8, and he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua also will be a refuge for the oppressed, and a refuge in times of trouble. And when you go into Ezekiel chapter 7, it talks about evil, and only evil has come. Evil meaning Eve, meaning time, and ill meaning bad. Well, the scriptures talk about, it says, a refuge in times of trouble. So in a time of trouble, while you're gonna have 2/3 and these heathen and Esau believing in themselves, running to trusting it, like that dude, what's that, Full Spectrum Survival, what I mean? That guy say, he talk about certain scriptures, and do this and do that, but he believe in himself, and the Lord gonna upset that man. You know what I mean? That's a true Edomite. I listen to him from time and time again because he does bring out good information, but that's an Edomite. So it reads, the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshua will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshua, has not forsaken them that seek thee. It tells you in the book of Proverbs chapter 18 that the name of the Most High is a strong tower and the righteous run onto it. So, with the times coming, we going to need big faith, because like I read in Habakkuk chapter 2, it says, he is not upright, but the just shall live by this faith, So, and that's what pretty much at the end of this thing, a true believer, that's probably what only thing you'll have left after, because the Lord is about to strip us of all these carnal things. Shit, so your possessions, you might lose family members in this thing. And as a man of the Lord, regardless of whatever, it makes you think of Job, and it's easier said than done, but a true man of the Lord is going to, suffer through and overcome regardless of whatever, is put before him. You know what I mean? When you think about a sad countenance, I often think about when I catch a hell, Job, because Job basically was at a low estate, you know what I mean? And lost everything. But because he persevered, the Lord, basically gave him double fold. Scriptures talk about said, well, should we get in a regeneration? He said 100-fold. And that's not even to our imagination. Talks about eyes have not seen what the Lord has prepared for us, roughly paraphrased. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole, Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, and this is resonating with your spirit, I suggest and I pray that you come back to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshua, the true power of the Bible, the true power of the universe, before you be destroyed, because the doors of mercy are closing. And with that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to God, Loyam, La Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshua Ba'Shem, double honors to my apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, teaching do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom, and Mawath Lababah, shalom.